Hey guys, Stephanie with SimplyFun here, and this month we're going to play games focusing on letters, storytelling, and vocabulary. Here we have Pass the Rooby Roo, which is a game all about letter sounds. Now, we play this a little bit differently at our house than what the official SimplyFun instructions say. If you want to check those out, go ahead and watch the video on the website. There's a video for every single game detailing how to play. But how we play is a little different because my kids are different ages. And so for my older daughter, this game is a lot easier for her. And so if we were to play by the regular rules, she would win every single time, which then my son isn't going to want to join in, right? So how we've modified this so that everybody gets to join in is that we start out on a letter, somebody rolls the dice, and they get to choose which direction they want to move. So if we go 1, 2, 3, we're going to actually flip the last letter we were on, we'll flip that over, and that's going to give us our category. So then she's going to take a turn and she's going to name in an animal that starts with the letter N. Say she comes up with newt, okay? She then gets a little gem from the middle here. And then I'll let my son have a turn as well, and he can also get a gem. Now sometimes instead of these gems, I'll give them M&Ms or pretzels. And that way, since we're not actually playing to win, they're still playing and having fun and practicing their letters without really realizing them and making them practice. Okay? So now if your kids are not quite up to these letter sounds, you can easily forget the categories and just work on letter recognition. Then work on the sounds. Then say any word that starts with that letter. Then you can add that category back in. And if they're getting really, really good at this, then add that speed element in where whoever has the answer first would be able to get the gem, okay? Then whoever has the most gems at the end of the game wins. In Lily Pond, again, we are working on letters and sounds. So everybody gets their own set of cards and a little frog and a matching colored marker. This tells you which letter you're going to be needing. Now, the official directions say to use this dice to tell you how many places you're supposed to move. We did not do that because we actually found that too difficult to count, plus know where we were headed and say letters. So we did not use the dice. Instead, we're just going to hop to the next letter that we need. And as we're hopping, we are saying either the letter name or the letter sound as we go. So we're gonna go t, p. Now, then my turn would be over and I'm going to move this marker to the next letter that I need. Now, if I'm watching and the next player turns and they go g, I can actually move my marker here as well because they passed something that I needed. So you really want to pay attention as other players are playing as well, because the first person to get through all their cards wins the game. In Pickles Pigtails, we are telling a silly story as we help our friend Pickles here to follow the path all the way to the castle. Now on your turn, you're going to roll the dice, and this is going to tell you how many spaces you get to move Pickles here. And then you're going to draw a card and start out the story with that prompt. So, a little bluebird was out flying one day. Then the next player would get to go roll the dice and add to the story. A little bluebird was out flying one day, and then he spotted a castle. Now, if you get the story right, you get to keep the card in front of you. These cards become very helpful because the story is going to get very, very long, and these act as helpful hints to help remind you what still needs to be said in the story. You have to pay attention because you need to get the story repeated in the correct order, and these little arrows here will tell you if you add to the story without having to repeat it to yourself, or maybe you're going to swap out some cards, or maybe you're going to remove a card. Then whoever has the most cards in front of them when you guys reach the castle, that person wins the game. Now, an alternative way to play this is to just simply line up all the cards in order and not really keep score. This is what my kids actually prefer to do. We love to just play this game for fun and come up with all the sorts of silly stories. And then you just keep going and see if you can actually make it to the castle. In Gumball Words, we are trying to collect letters to build words. Now everybody has their own little marker spot is where they start. And this allows them to move to any tile next to them, okay? So let's say I'm going to move to the tile T over here. I then get to pick this up, and this kind of becomes a wild card. On my next turn, I have to look at the little pattern here on the tile that I'm on, and this is going to tell me where I'm going to be able to move next. And you can kind of rotate this, so you do have 4 different options. But I'm going to move, let's see, over 1, down 1, and then over again, so that I have on the letter R. And then this tile, where I started from, I get to keep that as well. Now, you kind of want to see if you can plan ahead as you're moving, because you would need to be able to collect a variety of letters, different consonants and different vowels, so that towards the end of the game, you're able to build words with those. Now, if ever at any point you get stuck in a spot where there are no longer any valid moves, where there are other letters, you are actually done at that point. The game is over for you. Other players can keep collecting letters if they have valid moves. At that point, you are going to start building words with your letters, kind of like crossword puzzle style, where you can use the letters and build words vertically and horizontally, so you can double up on some of those letters, or you can actually have words that stand alone. But you want to use as many of your letters as possible, because any unused letter tiles actually get you negative points. And the longer the words, the more points you're going to receive. Once everybody has gathered all their letters and made their words, whoever has the most points at the end of the game then wins. In the real script, you are trying to come up with the best storyline to win the game. To start off with, everybody gets 5 of these little tickets, each with a different phrase on them, a privacy screen, a bidding card along with bidding tokens, a voting token, and then everybody has their own little point token for keeping score. So you're going to look at your 5 tickets here, and you are going to start building a storyline. Then you're going to take a look at the tokens or the tickets that are available on the game board, and you are going to decide which ones you would like to add to your story. Whichever tickets you would really like, you're going to place a bid on those. Everybody gets 20 of these, and you have to use them wisely because you have to go through 2 different rounds of bidding. So I really want the number 3 card, which has the Snow Queen. So I'm going to put a ton of tokens there. And say I also want gets fish and chips for dinner, and then maybe use it as a magnifying glass. I don't know. So once everybody has their bids ready, you're going to lift this privacy screen and see who wins each ticket. So if I win the Snow Queen, I would get to keep this ticket. These tokens would be set aside. If I did not win the other ones, I would get to reuse those in the next bidding session. Okay? So then you're going to collect whichever tickets you've won. The rest, whatever is used, gets added back to the bottom of the deck, and you reload it. And you'll start bidding all over again. After that second round of bidding, you're then going to look at your tickets and you're going to put them in order and build your story. You then, once everybody's ready, you're going to read off your story, and you are able to add a word or 2 before or after each ticket, just to help with the flow of the story. Then everybody gets to vote on whose screenplay they think is the best. You do not get to vote for yourself. So you'll vote for whichever one you think had the best storyline. Everybody will reveal who they think wins, and then scoring will take place. Okay, if you had the best screenplay, you're going to get 15 points. If you voted for that screenplay, you get 5, and then there's also a few other varieties of ways to earn points as well. So then you're going to move your marker to the correct, adding your points, and then you're actually going to repeat this entire process again. So you will actually create 2 different storylines, and then at the end of that second screenplay, whoever has the most points wins the game. In Bid a Letter, we are trying to build words and get rid of our letter tiles. So we start out with the tile here in the middle from the bag, and then everybody's going to choose one of their letters that they want to play. So let's take the letter A, and that's going to be ours that we're going to play. At the same time, everybody flips over their letter. Okay? Then you look at which letter comes first in the alphabet, and that player gets to play first. So we played A, and so we're going to make this, pretend this word is going to become the word nap. Okay? B comes next, so they're going to say Well, I'm gonna start with ball. Oh, and each time you start a new word, one of these little tiles goes on top of there, and that tells you where the starting word chain is, okay? So we're trying to build nap this way, ball that way. M comes next and is like, no, we're not gonna do nap, we're gonna turn this into name. Okay, that's totally fine. The next player goes with, and no idea where to play this. Oh, we could do bass. Let's pretend we're gonna make the word bass. Bass, space, whichever you prefer. Okay, and so there you go, everybody got to have their turn. Now you're going to go through it again, and you're going to pick out a new set of letters that you want to play. So we'll go E, we'll just grab a couple here and pretend that that we can do the game. All right, everybody flips them over again. And just like before, the first, whoever has the first letter in the alphabet would go first, which would be A. So we're gonna go name. Next is H, we'll go bash. And then we have two O's. And I'm not exactly sure at this point what we do here. I didn't read that in the directions. We'll have to double check on that, I can find out. But if there's only one of them and the letter was O, we would then have to take the longest letter chain and remove it, leaving everything else in place. And then I would take two of these letters and add them to my pile. And then the other two would go, into the bag, okay? So here I have a lot more tiles than everybody else at this point, right? But I can have a chance to play my O now finally. And we're gonna say, let's pretend that's going to be the word boy. And the next player would say, we're gonna do show. And then play continues for another round. You can set a timer, and then maybe at the end of 30 minutes, whoever has the fewest tiles left wins the game. Otherwise, if somebody runs out of tiles completely, they would also win. Also on sale this month is a trivia game all about Shakespeare. And if you spend $50, you can choose one of our What If chat rings for just $5 more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at SimplyFun with Steph.